Yeah, I mean, this is I don't know. To me, it looks like it kind of sets up for the Steelers. Why? Well, the Steelers always start fast under Mike Tomlin. They hit a lot in training camp. According to Max Starks, he thinks that's the reason that they're ready for Week 1 year after years because they play their guys in the preseason and they go full hitting mode, and so they're in like midseason form by the time the season rolls around. The Niners under Kyle Shanahan, contrarily, are 2-4 under Shanahan in Week 1, and in those 6 games, they're averaging 20 points a game. The non-Week 1 games in the Shanahan era, the Niners are averaging 24.5 points a game. So 4.5 points a game less in Week 1s under Shanahan, 2-4 in 6 games. Is there a reason so Max Starks told me the reason he thinks the Steelers start fast. Is there a reason that the Niners start slow?
I think the only thing you can really point to in terms of the 49ers starting slow is just getting the offense all together. They don't play a lot during the preseason. So getting that Week 1, when you finally get everybody out there, takes them a little while to kind of get rolling. That's the only thing that you can really point to. I mean, you look back at 2021, they started off fast in that game. 41 points, I think 34 on offense. They did okay out in Tampa. But that was still only 17. You look at the offense overall, you threw out the numbers. In Kyle Shanahan's time with the 49ers, Week 1, in his first 6 games, the offense is averaging 16.7 points per game. So it does set up really nice here for Pittsburgh. But at the same time, I would say that I think Brock Purdy might be something that's could possibly have a hand in changing that for the 49ers.
Last time the Niners played in Pittsburgh was 2019. Niners defeated the Steelers that day 24-20 behind 21 points in the second half. The Niners turned the ball over 5 times and still found a way to win. Niners finished with 15 more first downs, 197 more total yards, 23 more plays overall, a 13-minute time of possession advantage, and needed a touchdown pass to Dante Pettis from Jimmy Garoppolo inside of the 2-minute warning to seal the victory. Since then, teams who have turned the ball over 5 or more times are 1-25. So basically, if you turn it over the way they did last time the Niners and Steelers played, you're going to lose. What do you think? What's the key to victory for the 49ers in this one on Sunday?
There's a lot of them, but I would, you pointed to the turnovers. That's always a big piece of the puzzle when it comes to the 49ers under Kyle Shanahan, holding on to the ball. You look at their records. I don't have it in front of me right now, but I think it's like 75% winning when they turn the ball over less than their opponents, or they're tied in that stat. When they turn the ball over more, it's the opposite. So I think that's the biggest one, especially in a game like this out in Pittsburgh. They need to hold on to the football. If they can do that, I think they're going to be there at the end. These games are always tough out in Pittsburgh, especially you mentioned it with Mike Tomlin. He's 4-1 in home openers at home, 10-5-1 overall. This is a tough matchup for the 49ers here, but they're a really good team. They've been really good on the road, the second most road wins in the NFL since 2019. So it's a tough matchup for them, obviously. I think the biggest thing they need to do outside of holding onto the ball is they need to stop the run. Because if they can stop the run, I think that works into everything else that they do.
Well, let's talk about that for a second because, I asked Kyle Shanahan about that question. Can the Niners stop the run? They haven't stopped the run worth a damn in the preseason. The last 2 games, the Chargers and Broncos averaged over 6 yards a carry. The Raiders ran it at will on them up the middle as well in the first preseason game. There's not a DJ Jones kind of a run defender. There's not even a Hassan Ridgeway type run defender. They're asking an awful lot of Eric Armstead, and I don't know if you can depend on Javon Kinlaw. The other guys are all one-gap penetrator, get up the field, rush the passer types. What do you think? Is the run D an issue? Should we be stressed about it, or was that just rookie linebackers getting in the wrong hole, bad run fits in the preseason? Was the preseason poor run D something or nothing?
I don't think you can say it's nothing because I was out in Vegas, watched them go against the Raiders in training camp in the practices that they had there. And the Raiders had success against the 49ers starting defense on the ground. in those joint practices on the what was it, the Thursday and Friday before that first preseason game. They had some success there. So saw that. And so there should be a little bit of concern. It's good to have some concern here. I'm just saying that's going to clear itself up when the starters hit the field. I think that's a little, can be a little naive. And we've seen the 49ers under Kyle Shanahan struggle with stopping the run early in the season. Go back to 2021. They did not do a very good job shutting down the run in those first couple of weeks of the season, especially out in Detroit. Even though they blew that game out, they were still giving up a lot of big runs in that game. The following week in Philadelphia, more of the same. And then they started to kind of level off and get better. So there's definitely, I think, being concerned about it is a good way to put it. I think there should be some concern there. New defensive coordinator, Steve Wilks. We haven't seen what that's going to look like yet. So there's a lot of uncertainty around the defense right now for the 49ers.
Which running back? Now, Pittsburgh's got 3 backs, right? They got Najee Harris, who's a horse, and he runs upright. He takes lots of hits, but he's also, he dishes out a lot of punishment. But he's a gigantic target. He's 6'2", 242 pounds, and he runs violently. Then they've got Jaylen Warren, who's much more compact, but he also is pretty powerful. And then they have Anthony McFarland, who's got incredible speed to the edges. Of their 3 backs, who do you think the Niners will have the most success defending? Who's the guy that's going to give them problems?
I think they're going to struggle a little bit with Harris. I think if they can if the Steelers are able to generate some push and open up those holes in the middle, I think the 49ers are going to struggle with that kind of a power runner, but he also has some moves to go along with it. So I do think they can struggle a little bit there. As far as the other 2 backs, when they start getting to the edges, I think that plays into the 49ers strengths because the 49ers linebackers run really well. So when you try to attack this defense on the edges, their speed can overtake you, and that's where they make the play. So running right at this 49ers defense might be the way that Pittsburgh has the most success. So I would say Najee Harris might be the biggest problem for the 49ers on Sunday.
And as far as if we flip the card and talked about the Niners run game, how do you think Shanahan divvies up the carries? I mean, we've seen J.P. Mason and Ty Davis-Price get a lot of the action in camp, but they also have McCaffrey, and now they have Elijah Mitchell healthy. How do you think the running back carry breakdown is going to look at the end of the game?
I think we'll see. Let's just go with 25 rushing attempts in this game for the 49ers. If that's the number, I would say you'll probably see about 14 to 15 of those come from Christian McCaffrey. Probably about 5 or 6 from Elijah Mitchell, and then those last few between Deebo Samuel and J.P. Mason. I don't expect to see Ty Davis-Price be one of the actives in this game. So McCaffrey's is their number 1 back. He's going to have the most carries, and then I think you'll see Mitchell next with Mason and Deebo following those 2 up.